Welcome to the jungle, everybody. So this is still our practice kitchen. It just looks a bit different. We're doing some revamps in our waiting room, so that's why all our plants are in here. But I'm sure if you know the reference, and if you were a bit of a goth when you were a teen, or if you're into Guns N' Roses, you'd probably like the look of it. So I'm super excited. Some new content coming at you, and from feedback, people seem to like the educational videos where we talk about fillers, threads, toxin, and today we're going to talk about something called hyaluronidase. So like hyaluronic acid, hyaluronidase is also found naturally in our body, in every single part of the body, and it's the reason actually that we all are here as people, because there's hyaluronidase attached to a sperm, and that's what breaks down the egg and allows it to get into the little egg and make a little person. And they use it quite a lot in hand surgery. They use it to prevent tissue damage when they're trying to get drugs in. They use it a lot in ophthalmology. But in aesthetic medicine, it's got a off-label use. So this is not an FDA approved use. It's to dissolve the filler. And with the advent of more and more filler being done worldwide, as well as lots of like unregulation, I don't know if that's a word, or non-regulation of these sort of treatments, it's very important that we have this product on hand. So if you do not have hyaluronidase, or hyalase as they call it, in your practice, and you are doing fillers, that is highly unethical. This is a lifesaver. So when we use it, is usually if there's something called Tyndall effect, where there's a bit of bluish discoloration under the eye, if the fillers injected too superficially. And then the thing with fillers that I've noticed is Murphy's Law. If the filler is injected into the wrong place, it stays there for longer than it should. So we often tell patients, because we've been told this, fillers can last anything from 6 months to 18 months, but in fact fillers can stick around for almost 12 years. So the oldest filler I've ever dissolved from a patient coming from elsewhere would be in the tear trough. So that's where we usually dissolve filler, and that filler was there for 8 years. It took one session of this and the filler was gone. It's not always that easy though. So this stuff, usually, like as a practitioner, you should know how to use, and this video is more for patients. So I'm going to show you a little bit about hyaluronidase as well. The biggest thing, and because people Google, the biggest thing people are scared about with this stuff is an allergic reaction that is exceptionally rare. So proper allergic reaction where you stop breathing, your pressure drops, and it's life-threatening is less than 0.1%. But you'll see in some of the pop-ups that will come in the video what normal swelling from hyaluronidase is, and that is some hectic swelling, but it's perfectly normal. So the half-life of this stuff is about 2 minutes in the plasma. So it's not very long, but the effect lasts 2 or 3 days. So once we dissolve, we always tell patients wait 2 weeks. Everything in aesthetic medicine is 2 weeks. How long will the bruise be there? How long will the swelling be there? When can I do my next peel? Everything is 2 weeks. But in actual fact, you can probably fill safely within a week, but depends on how the dissolving was done. If there's a bit of trauma, bruising, that sort of thing, then it's best to wait at least 10 days. So just to show you what this is 1,500 units of hyaluronic acid. If you have a bee or wasp allergy, you have to tell your practitioner, because there's a high risk of allergy, and they recommend skin testing or intradermal testing, where we inject the skin and then you see a welt, but none of us are allergy specialists, so that is highly controversial and may not even be useful, and also it's not recommended by the standards. But I think we do it as a safety and legal thing, like listen, we did an intradermal test before we did the hyaluronidase, and it's important as a practitioner and as a patient that before you have hyaluronidase injected, you have to consent to it like everything else. The biggest thing is it going to destroy my face? Is it going to destroy tissue? So there's no evidence that it does, but there are patients, like forums and things, that say, they were destroyed by hyaluronidase, but so far in practice I haven't seen it myself, because it gets rid of hyaluronic acid and like endogenous, like your own, as well as the filler. You get hectic dehydration, but it's every single day you replenish your hyaluronic acid. So I'm just gonna mix some, and we're going to put some, and then just to show you how quickly it dissolves. So the filler can be there for years, but this will take literally the day to dissolve. I don't know how it's going to react to this. This is a filler they gave me to try out, but because I wasn't really keen on trying out a filler that I wasn't too sure about in case there's some adverse event. I've got this, so I'm going to use it for videos. This is a Vicross filler, so it's really highly cross-linked. The more cross-linked a filler is, the it's not as easy to dissolve the filler. This is cross-linked but not as much, and this is Nashite stabilized. It's not as cross-linked as this, so it usually dissolves very easily. And there's lots of different protocols. There's a high dose protocol for dissolving, something called vascular occlusion. So that's where there's an emergency and where the filler occludes a blood vessel, and it starts creating, it's like almost like a stroke in your face. So you get, your blood vessels become constricted or blocked, and then there's no blood flow, and if you leave it, eventually you get necrosis or skin death. So this is the way to reverse and to heal that. This is normal saline. You can use bacteriostatic saline, so it doesn't sting as much. It stings. So when you inject a patient with this, it's not the most pleasant thing. It's over like really quickly, but swelling and itching and a bit of a sting is pretty normal. And once this is mixed, it's 1 ml. So you can take it out, and people can dilute up to 10 ml. They just have a little connector. I was watching something with Patrick Treacy, and he dilutes it up to 2 ml. He splits the vial, and he only ever really uses 1 or 2 vials when it's vascular occlusion. But there have been cases of people using 12 vials, and so there's a bit of a debate on hyaluronidase. But in terms of the damage that the stuff can cause, so there's no evidence of such. But because now there's this, I don't know, endemic, I suppose, of bad filler, and also sometimes, like, some clinicians insist that all the filler that you have is dissolved first and then restart with them, and then it becomes almost like a trend, like dissolving and refilling, dissolving and refilling. So with that, they may foresee like some sort of long-term damage in the tissue. So only dissolve if necessary and if warranted. And now with ultrasound, dissolving has become more accurate. So this is the not so cross-linked filler. This is like super cross-linked filler. Let me move this. So I'm also interested to see what this will do, but that looks kind of cross-linked to me, just the way it came out looks similar to that. Okay. So you can see it's already sort of disintegrating. This will probably disintegrate faster. So what I've mainly dissolved are lips and tear troughs, more commonly tear troughs. So that's it. You can see it's like broken up, and look how quickly it works. See, the filler's all broken up, it's not cohesive anymore. So cohesive filler does this. So that's the one. And then when I do this, it does that, and here it's like a little mush. Because it's cross-linked, it'll probably take a few more hours to completely dissolve. This is stabilized, and you can see that's almost gone. So it's not as cross-linked, and it's pretty smooth. Let's see what this one does. This is pretty cross-linked. Also, not all filler is able to dissolve. So there's some filler, I can't remember the Hyal form. I might be wrong, but it's a German filler, and also really difficult to dissolve. So before you, as a practitioner and as a patient, buy wonky fillers online or from dodgy sources, know what you're putting into your patient, know as a patient what is being put into your face, and that it is obtained in a legal and safe fashion. So if there is a problem, you can get help and have it solved quickly. So don't do, this is your face, this is still medicine, and these things here, This is a drug, this hyaluronidase, and these things are medical devices. So it's really important to look after your face and body and be safe. But thanks guys, thanks for my crazy hyaluronidase video. You know, I never prep for these things, it's on the fly, so I'm just talking. So there may have been things that I've left out. If you have any questions, please drop them down below in the comments. You can send us an email, DM us on Instagram. We'd love to see you at our practice. Thanks so much. Bye from Dr. Anjana Bhana. Like, share and subscribe.